We're here to talk about a program in Fall River that's designed to help our residents and our landlords. It's the Emergency Solution Grant, and we're here today because we know that many of the residents in Fall River are facing uncertainty as we approach the end of the eviction moratorium, which will be lifted on July 31. Our administration and many of our Fall River community partners have been preparing this date for a long time. Some say preparations began the second the moratorium began in the spring of 2020. We are holding this press conference 2 weeks in advance of an urgent reminder to our residents to be aware of the moratorium's expiration, to plan around our own personal solutions or situations, and to please utilize the resources that are available here in the city of Fall River. The moratorium and its effect on the city of Fall River is, like so many other things that we've dealt with over the last year, totally unprecedented. This moratorium has been in place for well over a year, meaning that a lot of renters and property owners have been living in a state of flux. Coming out of this moratorium, we know there will be confusion and there is going to be a lot of stress. It is our priority that the hardworking, upstanding citizens of Fall River have the support and guidance they need to navigate this difficult time. And we also want to ensure that no one is improperly forced out of a home and that no one is left without a place to go. My administration has committed over $1.5 million of CARES Act funding to support our residents during this transition. We have also formalized a partnership with Catholic Social Services, who have been a leader in housing and homelessness services for quite some time in Fall River. The Fall River Housing Authority and the City of Fall River have also come together to form a coalition that will be crucial for our resources, which will focus on our residents with questions of concern throughout the entire process. I would like to take a moment to thank the organizations who are represented here today, and with the help of these agencies and the community partners, they will help our residents remain safe and healthy throughout the rest, hopefully, of this COVID-19 crisis. With that, I would like to turn it over to Sheila Chase of Catholic Social Services, who will talk about more specifics of the resources we have available to our residents. But before I give it to Sheila, I want to make sure we all know who's here today. That's Erica Monis from CDA. Ruby Rosa is with us from Catholic Social Services. Martha Reed, Catholic Social Services. Sheila Chase, who will talk, is it Chassie or Chase?
Chassie.
Chassie, who will talk next, is from Catholic Social Services. I always say her name wrong. Susan Marcirella is also Catholic Social Services, and behind me is Mike Dion from the CDA, and Mary Camara from CDA. Can you see who's back there? Oh, Rob Mount, he's an attorney with South Coast Legal. And Dax Crocker is a Coalition for Social Justice representative who also does tremendous outreach with the families in need in Fall River. But right now I'd like to turn it over to Susan Chassie from Catholic Social Services.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sheila Chassie. That's okay, Mayor. I am one of the program coordinators with Catholic Social Services who assists with the Emergency Solutions Grant Program. I'm going to just explain the program a little bit for you. So the Emergency Solutions Grant Program is a federally funded program that the recipient is the City of Fall River, and Catholic Social Services is the sub-recipient. This grant is in act to help and prevent homelessness. So there's two pieces to the ESG grant. One is the homeless prevention, and the other is the rapid rehousing. So during this eviction moratorium and the pandemic, we've seen an increased number of families and individuals in the community that have struggled to pay their rent. So ESG can assist with rental assistance. There's many different risk factors that we can utilize these funds for. One is specifically that's being impacted right now is for rental arrears. This grant can pay up to 6 months of arrears pending eligibility. The eligibility requirements for ESG homeless prevention are an area median income of 30% and a court eviction judgment. And please don't panic over the court eviction judgment. I'll move on a little bit in that piece. We also have an ESG fund directly COVID related. So that little piece, the arrears must be, or the family or individual must have been impacted directly by COVID. Loss of income, loss of child care. There's several different factors that we can try to correlate the COVID impact. That specific fund, there's a 50% area median income guideline, and the tenant must have a notice to vacate. So there's no court judgment in place for that. So what I encourage the community to do is reach out, and I'll go over the process on how the process to obtain the rental assistance in just a minute. Reach out, do not hesitate. The faster that we contact and return calls for individuals and families that are at risk of homelessness is better for the community. The goal is to keep people housed, prevent people from losing their housing. We do ask landlords and homeowners in the community to please have patience. This pandemic has impacted the community significantly. We're seeing an influx of calls daily, and it's concerning. But this is what these grants are here to do. They're here to help the community, to help the homeowners, to help the renters and families in need. We understand that landlords are just as nervous and have been impacted as the renters. So this grant is not only just for people that are in need of the assistance. It's to support the landlords so they can pay their mortgages, so they can continue with rental income, so they can keep their tenants. The last thing we want to see is a flux of people, individuals and families in the community that are homeless. So I encourage people to please reach out to Catholic Social Services immediately. Do not wait. The other piece of the ESG fund is rapid rehousing. That direct pot of funds directly helps people that are physically homeless. So people that are physically living on the street, living in shelter, living in their vehicles, and we're seeing that as well. People did panic, and they have vacated their units, and now they're living in their vehicles. Or if someone is doubled up with another family, that also puts that family at risk of eviction if they're not on the lease. So that would fall under homeless prevention. So when in doubt, don't stress. Call us. We will ensure that we direct or assist in the proper manner for housing resources. That's what we're here to do. The process for obtaining any type of rental assistance through Emergency Solutions grants is a phone call to the coordinated entry of Fall River. The Fall River coordinated entry, that phone number is 774-520-2555. Again, it's 774-520-2555. The process to enter and obtain ESG assistance pending eligibility is a phone call to the coordinated entry at the number I just stated. It's very imperative. The referral must come through coordinated entry, which Catholic Social Services also oversees. So the process is pretty simple. You call 774-520-2555. An intake specialist will assess, enter data into our HMIS system, which is the Homeless Management Information System, and provide a referral to the Emergency Solutions Grant Department, which will then come to me. I then assign it out to a case manager. We call client, set up an interview, assess the situation, and proceed as fit. If for some reason a family or individual does not qualify for ESG services, there are other rental assistance resources within the community. For instance, we have RAFT assistance, we have the IRMA assistance. Catholic Social Services does not oversee those programs, but NeighborWorks Housing Solutions does. DHCD also has some rental assistance funds. We will provide referrals and references to how to obtain additional rental assistance. So again, it's call the number 774-520-2555. We will respond and answer every call. If it's after hours, we have an answering service. We also have a voice message set up. Leave a message. We will return calls within 24 to 48 hours. I encourage individuals and families, again, do not panic. Do not vacate your unit. Remain housed. Your landlord may or may not come knocking on your door a few times a week. That's okay. Remain housed. We also are partnering up with South Coast Legal Services. So if we feel that there is a need to bring some legal representation involved, we will refer over, working directly with Mr. Mount and other members of the South Coast Legal Services to assist the community. Again, I can't stress it enough. Please do not vacate your home. There's really nowhere to go out there. Stay housed. Call us immediately, and we will reach out to you within 24 to 48 hours if it is after hours. We do return all phone calls. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mount.
Can you spell your name?
Sheila Chasse, SHEILA, You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Sheila.
You're welcome.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Rob Mount. I'm the managing attorney of the Fall River Office of South Coastal Counties Legal Services. My name? Yeah. M-O-U-N-T. No worries. What we are is a civil legal aid nonprofit agency that assists people in all manners of civil law. Specifically, we're here to talk about housing. We assist folks who are in public and subsidized housing as well as private housing. Even if we're not doing a full representation, we can also do advice. We help people with getting rental assistance, as Ms. Chasse was talking about before. We can assist with RAF denials, ERAP denials, as well as other housing-related matters. This also means we assist people in court. As we all know, right now we're facing an unprecedented pandemic as well as an unprecedented eviction crisis. And what we're doing is we've added more staff, we've extended our abilities, and we're stretching our resources to be able to help as many people in our community as possible because our community needs help. We also offer assistance for people who are victims of crime through our civil legal assistance for victims of crime. That'd be folks who have issues with custody, divorces, restraining order needs, and as well people who have their housing affected by being victims of crime. We also help with disability insurance through SSI and SSDI, through administrative hearings, and in addition to that, we also help with state benefits such as unemployment, mass health, and shelter denials, things of that nature as well. But the bulk of what we're seeing now is assisting people in the Southeast Housing Court, which obviously sits in Fall River over on Rock Street. What we do is we'll assist people from the notice to quit stage all the way through final judgment. Sometimes this involves going to mediation, trying to negotiate on behalf of the clients. Sometimes this means taking a case to trial and trying to work on behalf of the clients in their best interest as well. We can be reached either online at www.sccls.org. We have an online inquiry form, and the Fall River office number is 508-676-6265. Number again is 508-676-6265. We have an intake staff who will determine whether or not you're eligible for our services. Then they'll be sent for assignment and see what we can do to help people. The important thing is trying to get help. We have strategic partnerships throughout the community where we've been receiving referrals, and that's been working out wonderfully. But there's always people who are not being referred to our services, and there's always people who just don't know about our services. And I hope this is a great way to reach them. Please contact us. We're here, willing, and able to help. Thank you.
You said you added more staff.
That's correct. That's through the COVID eviction legal protection grant that's been going through the state government. It's KEL. That's the abbreviation for it.
This is not the grant money that the mayor's talking about today.
No, it's not. But we still want to let people know that we do have available staff to be able to help people who are facing an eviction.
The largest staff that you have.
Overall, in the Fall River office, we have about 15 people, including support staff.
That would be enough.
We're doing everything that we can. We have a very talented and able staff. I have the utmost confidence in the people I work with. Thanks. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Dax Crocker, D as in David, A-X-C-R-O-C-K-E-R. I'm with Coalition for Social Justice. First of all, I want to thank Mayor Coogan for your leadership. I was at a church a long time ago, And the preacher said that day that in order for darkness to appear, you just have to turn off the light. And for darkness to go away, you have to turn on the lights. And what Mayor Coogan and this group of leaders from the community are doing today is turning on the lights for hope for a lot of people who may be thinking that this summer they're going to be out on the streets. At Coalition for Social Justice, we've been canvassing, knocking on doors all over Fall River, and then discovering or approaching people who may not know what to do, and then connecting them with legal services, with the RAFT program, with other agencies that are paying rent for people who lost their jobs during COVID. And we would love to continue to do that this summer and making sure that everyone stays housed in Fall River. Thank you.
Okay, well, that will wrap it up unless people have any specific questions. Keith?
Yeah, I just have a question in terms of, maybe Ms. Chesney, about the timeline. If someone calls your office looking for assistance, when can they possibly begin to, receive some of the funding? What's the kind of the timeline?
So, I mean, and that's going to depend on the client and the landlord, to be honest with you. We will return the ESG case manager will receive the referral, client referral information within 24, 48 hours, and they will contact the client, and then it's a matter of documentation, obtaining documentation from client and the homeowner or landlord. So the process can take up to 2 weeks, or it can take up to 30 days. That's going to depend how fast they can get us the proper documentation returned to us.
So there actually has to be a working agreement between the tenant and the landlord. Now, would the landlord get the money directly? Would it go through the tenant?
The landlord will be paid directly. For any rental assistance funds, the landlord is always paid directly. It does not go through the client, directly to the landlord. We are setting up, asking for different documentation from the landlords and setting up direct deposits so they can receive that assistance and rental funds sooner than a check form.
So if there's some landlords who are, looking to make it difficult, is that when the legal services get involved?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would definitely, and we have seen that. We have seen landlords in the community say, no, I'm going to reject the funds and I'll see, my tenant in court. And that's definitely where we do a referral service over for legal assistance. You're welcome.
Has there been any guidance from the court how they're going to treat, are they going to treat these cases any differently coming out of the moratorium?
I'm not an attorney, but I'll ask Mr. Mount to answer that question.
I don't presume to speak for the court.
Indeed, I don't expect you to. Can you just step up to the microphone,
Sure,
please?
of course.
Give us a sense, what is your sense of how these cases maybe, you think they'll be treated any differently?
Well, the court has had to adapt in the time of COVID. Things have moved both online, and now we're starting to transition back into in-person. The most recent standing order that came into effect on July the 1st has now brought evidentiary hearings back into an in-person format, while things like mediations and some pretrial conferences are going to remain online. The way the housing court used to work is you would show up on the day that was your mediation and also your trial. The way it's stretched out right now is your first event is just a mediation. So at that point, you don't have to worry about immediately not being able to mediate a case and then go directly to trial. I think that in and of itself has shown a flexibility of how the court has adjusted to handle some of these cases because they take time. And oftentimes these mediations, you don't go in 5 minutes and come out with a magic solution. Oftentimes it's a lot of hard work and working with community partners and making sure that we try and get both parties in a place where they can either coexist and continue the tendency to keep people from becoming homeless.
Thank you. And Mayor, if I might, how much of a grant are we talking about here? And it sounds to me as though Catholic Social Services is the designated agency that you designated to handle this,
Yes, it's 1.5 million,
right?
and it is going to be Catholic Social Services. They have 3 intake workers ready to go, and their coordination with the South Coast Legal and obviously our other partners.
Money comes from where?
CARES money.
So, is this a, you have the flexibility to choose how to apportion those funds, and you've chosen the $1.5 million.
Absolutely. We don't want anybody sleeping on the streets, and we're gonna do whatever we can to help as many families and landlords as possible.
Will that be enough?
It's a start. We'll see how it ends up. I'm sure they'll let us know.
And do you think there will be any opportunity for more?
I gotta believe there will be if we really, if things progress accordingly. This is a great start, and hopefully we're gonna come out the other side of COVID and people get back on their feet. We're gonna assist them through a tough time. That's what we're doing.
Mayor Coogan, I'm assuming no one behind you is facing eviction, but I'm wondering what kind of phone calls are you fielding in your office? How difficult is it for people right now?
Well, we had a pre-meeting where we talked about that, and we had some people that asked questions today, especially two landlords, wanted to know if the person was a bad tenant, were we gonna subsidize them to stay in their apartment, or are we gonna only help the COVID people that are in threat of being displaced, and it's gonna be the COVID people. We encourage all of our residents to work with their landlords on what they want or their expectations are legally for to be a resident of their apartment.
And what kind of challenges are those COVID people facing? Is it that they can't get back to work, they're not finding work, they can't find jobs?
Right. It could be maybe they're a restaurant. If they're a restaurant worker, it closed down. It didn't reopen yet. Others are looking for work. I think you're going to see people get back on their feet quickly. I'm hoping that that's enough money. These Catholic Social Services brought a whole cadre of people, and I'm sure they're going to competently help people over this hump. And when we come out the other side, we'll all be better for it.
Are these funds open to all residents, including those who might be undocumented?
I'm sorry, RJ, I can't hear.
Are these funds open to residents who might be undocumented?
I think they're open to everybody.
Yes, they are.
They are open to everyone. Each grant, there's the ESG grant that is open to everyone, undocumented or documented. The Raft Assistance Fund is also can assist with undocumented as well. And just to add to what Mayor Coogan has stated, Catholic Social Services is not only providing rental assistance. Along with that rental assistance will come wraparound services. So what I mean by that is budget, financial management, visiting. Somebody needs to get back to work and they need childcare services. So that's a referral out to receive childcare assistance. Or employment searches, employment resume writing. We have a full team of wraparound services within Catholic Social Services and within the community. We often work with Sir Jobs for Progress. We refer families and individuals to Mass for Hire. So there's a bunch of services in the community and we work directly with them.
Those services are separate and apart from what this program will pay for, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you already have these existing services that you can adopt?
Yes, sir. Within the case management, direct case management with Emergency Solutions grants, we will help families and individuals with a monthly budget. We will help them with any type of utility assistance as far as the application process. If someone's in need of any type of DTA SNAP assistance, we'll help with applications with that. We have a whole department that can help specifically with that. We have trained case managers that are trained and certified to help apply for any type of disability income.
Last question. Landlords can reach out to you as well, or is it a tenant-based service?
So landlords can reach out to us. However, we're only able to provide a landlord with the information as far as the program in general. I'm unable to provide and start the process of the application for this fund and assistance with the landlord. The client must call directly to the 774-520-2555. I ask that they don't have a family member call. It must be the specific client, leaseholder of the rental unit. I also would like to mention that Catholic Social Services has several staff members that are bilingual, so that shouldn't be an issue when a caller calls in. Again, we have an immigration department to help those that do call in for rental assistance that may or may not want to start the process with their immigration paperwork. So there is a variety of assistance that we can help with, and that's why I can't stress enough, don't wait to call. Call immediately. There's help out there, and the community is what we're trying to do, is make the community aware of the type of services that are out there.
Sheila, is there a cap per client where, okay, 6 months has gone by, we can't give you any more than,
So if an individual or family calls in for a rental arrears, we can pay, the grant can pay up to 6 months of the arrears. Should there be a balance, left, and the landlord is in non-agreement to keep the client housed based on there's still a balance. That's where legal services will come in. We will try to mediate with legal services. We'll try to mediate. We'll also encourage the landlord to enter into a payment agreement. Should the tenant fall back on that agreement, then they can receive additional services through RAFT. But from the beginning, they would be provided the up to 6 months of rental arrears, and then I would immediately reach out to RAFT myself or the case manager to see if we can get that other small balance, hopefully paid in full, and render the tenant with a zero balance. That's the goal. You're welcome.